Yeah, good morning. It's another edition of Midweek Connect on NTA Benin. And of course, it's a program that we explore what happens in the society, topical issues, and we discuss on them. And we do have guests we bring to the studio to lay more emphasis on whatever we have to dish out to you. And today, interestingly, we begin with something happening around the globe, which of course is the ongoing World Cup at Mexico, Canada, and the USA. A lot is happening, and we are looking at the performance of African teams at this tournament. Of course, we have a guest here in the studio. But before I talk about the guest, Ifoma, you're welcome.
Thank you so much,
Yeah.
You're really carried.
In fact, whenever he comes to the studio, it's another interesting time to talk sports.
And also we'll have a big fish in the house this morning.
So it's interesting.
Yes.
Let's. What are we even referring to? Of course, we know when we talk about sports, there are some persons you can always look up to get information and to be educated about what is happening around us in the world of sport. I'm talking about a man that has had experience in the world of sport that spans 3 decades. Can you really beat that? Well, and of course, he is a sport journalist and has traveled to well over 28 countries covering sport analyst, a trainer in sport, and you can always what's happening. Of course, he's been a general manager of sport in Abuja. Of course, and I'm talking about somebody that presently is the director news, NTA Benin Network Center here. I'm talking about Femi Johnson.
It's a great pleasure being here again after some time. Exactly. We thank God.
Thank you so much for coming. I think the last time we had you, there was a particular tournament we had in the state. This Edo Benin Insurance, Edo Queens, and what's really happening around them. And of course, it was a good day for us to hear from you, and you're back here today. Something again is happening across the globe. Although Nigeria has not been so fortunate, 2 executive times they've lost out, but I think Africa is still, countries are there representing the continent, and so we are here to talk about it. FIFA World Cup 2026.
Well, let me first of all say that this is the biggest football tournament in the world. Everybody regards World Cup as a great entity, a symbol. Once you are not in the World Cup, it's like your nation is not really a great football nation. It's unfortunate Nigeria is not there, but those who are there are representing us very well, and I thank God that you said we should come and talk about the performance of African teams. They are really doing well, but let me not preempt what you are going to ask me about them. But it's not bad for Africa as a continent.
Yeah, not bad, because over the years the number has been lessened, but we now saw that FIFA had to come up with this decision that let's increase the number of participating teams across the globe, and Africa was 9 plus 1 period or sport that was now intercontinental playoff that favored DR Congo and made 10 nations at the World Cup. When you now saw this number 10 going to the World Cup from Africa, what came to your mind?
It is a good development. It is the best thing that will happen to Africa, and I feel that for us in Africa, it is something that we should be joyful about. 10 countries in Africa participating in the World Cup. That is not even it. the fact that 9 of these countries, 9 out of 10, qualified for the next stage of the competition is a big achievement. And as we speak, Morocco, the best team in Africa. Morocco is currently the 7th best nation in the world and the best nation in Africa. They have equally qualified for round of 16, a big achievement. Although we cannot push Morocco aside when it comes to the World Cup. Let me take you back a little.
But before we go into this discussion, I think we have something to really kick off, to really talk more on. Let's begin with a backgrounder that will really give us what to talk about.
Expectations.
For you to qualify for the World Cup, that's your first job. Now you're going to that global stage. Alright, you know what it takes to be in that stage. Alright, as an African team, to compete with other continents. So for African team to
I think we have some challenges with that report, but from a little we've gathered from this, it said you are going to the global stage to compete, and you know what it takes to be there. So far, for these African countries, what do you see about them, their performances so far?
We are going to take their performance from what has happened before.
Okay.
Morocco is the best nation, I told you. Morocco is the only country that has managed to reach the semi-finals of the World Cup, and they placed 4th. Then we have the likes of Cameroon. Cameroon is the first African nation to reach the round of 16 in the nations in this World Cup. Also, we have Senegal and Ghana. Those two have qualified before. But now that we are having 10 nations participating, it gives us a lot of credit in Africa, and it makes us to know that Africa has come to stay, Africa has come to shine, and Africa has what it takes to move the world. You can see some of the matches that were played. African teams were holding great nations like Portugal, great nations like France, great nations like Germany, and everybody they were now wondering, is it not Africa? And you could see Morocco sending out a very big nation like Netherlands. So it shows that Africa has what it takes to get to the top. And by the time they finish the ranking, when they finish the World Cup, you will equally see that it would have given Africa another leverage, and some of the countries in Africa would have improved on FIFA ranking, because in football there is ranking. If you are ranked, it shows how you are. Just like I told you earlier on that presently Morocco is the best country in Africa, and they are 7th in the world. And if Morocco is 7th in the world and they have reached the round of 16, all they need to do now is to get to the quarterfinal. Once they get to the quarterfinal, they will be placed in another rank. Their ranking will still improve. So that's it.
Okay, so then this negative advertisement, from football enthusiasts, especially the Nations Cup, that Africa. So what will you say concerning it? Looking at their performances at the World Cup.
Well, what I would say is that in the world, we have the positive and negative. Many people don't look at the positive aspect of what happened. People look at more or less the negative aspect. For a country like Congo Democratic Republic, the last time they were there was about 40 years ago. They defeated a country like Nigeria to qualify. That is a positive achievement. And Congo is one of the countries that shook the world in this competition. You understand what I'm saying? So we should give them their respect. African teams have actually done a lot. and they are still doing. And I want to commend Africa for this level that we have reached. It gives us another leverage to say that by the time we are playing our next Nations Cup, Africa will be given a better recognition. You know, in football world, to qualify, when you qualify for Nations Cup and your players want to go to Nations Cup, it's left for the club to release your players. They can decide to say they don't want to release your players. But once they have seen what we are doing now, they will give us that respect, and they will be allowing our players to go for any competition they want to go for.
Now we are looking at African performance at this World Cup, looking at them one after the other. I seem to pick interest in Cape Verde.
Okay.
Because if looking at Cape Verde, it's a debutant. And they just debuted their presence there this 2026. Yeah. And you see the way they played their group stage matches. Although they didn't win any, they drew. Like many other countries. And before you know it, they were in the round of 32. And we expected them to play something this round of 62. What would you say about this?
That is one of the good things about the 48 nation format that we're talking about. It gives room for countries. You can imagine you play 3 draws and you have qualified for the round of 16. It's a good development. And for Cape Verde to play goalless with a nation, giant nation, one of the prospects, potentials of this World Cup, Spain, shows that Africa, like I said, we have arrived. As far as I'm concerned, we have done well. Even if most of our teams are going out, you know, 2 of our countries are already out of the competition. South Africa is also out of the competition. Ivory Coast is out. It does not mean that Africa has not tried. We still have some other countries that are still going to play, that are still going to perform. Let's just hope that we can have at least maybe 4, 5 of our countries in Africa in the round of 16. Then we would have said yes, we have attained a greater height.
Because when I'm talking of Cape Verde, you saw Curacao, they played, they were just falling. Germany gave them 7-1. Is it so? Before you know, they were just collecting. But when you see Cape Verde, like them too, they were just minor.
Let me let you know that you know,
and you know that football is changing.
You know that Africans, we are regarded as very strong.
Yes.
Okay.
We are strong in our body. We are strong in our thinking. We are strong in the way we play, and that's why you see that many Africans are playing in Premier League, La Liga, and some other competitions outside their own coast. So it is something that is natural for us in Africa. We want to put in our best. We want to show the world that we have come to stay. We want to also show the world that we have arrived. Okay. That is it. Okay,
sir, you have been, following these matches, the interviews, the analysis, from sports enthusiasts. Some people are coming up with the idea that this match, Africans don't really have outstanding strikers. Do you also toe on that line, sir?
Well, it depends on the coach. Coach determines how a team is formed, and there is what we call structure in football. We have 4-2-3, 4-3-2, 4-4-2. It depends on the way a coach wants to play. There was a time, let me use my club, Manchester City. There was a time we don't have an outstanding striker. We were using any of the players, the one playing in the 11, the one playing 7, to be our main striker. But now we have somebody like Haaland. You saw what Haaland is doing in the World Cup. So it depends on the coach. If the coach decides that I don't want a main striker so that everybody can have an opportunity to score, the tendency is also there for the main striker to be selfish. We've witnessed it in this World Cup. When a striker has an opportunity to pass the ball to another person who is in a better position,
yes.
He will just play the ball and he will not score. And you will even put your head in your hand in your head and say, wow, what is this? Why would he do this kind of thing? So it depends on the coach. What a coach wants will determine whether they will have a number 9 striker, we call them number 9, an outstanding striker, or the main striker. But mostly in this competition, most of them have their number 9 striker.
All right, let's look at it. So you're still talking of people that can score goals.
Okay.
And looking at this World Cup, we already have the Golden Boots candidate. You have Messi's already topping the chart.
Yeah,
you have Haaland, you have Evans, you have Mbappe, and the rest of
still have the likes of
but you've not seen any African person. You begin to wonder, why do we keep having these issues of like Golden Boot is as if we are not really getting there.
When it comes to scoring
what's
goals,
the challenge?
When it comes to scoring goals, first is an instinct.
Okay.
Second is an inborn talent. Look at Messi. Messi can score goal from anywhere. He has 6 goals already. Look at Mbappe. Mbappe of France.
Yeah.
He has 6 goals already. Look at Haaland. He has 5 goals. These are people that you know that in their respective club, that is what they are doing. Somebody like Haaland may not touch the ball more than 5 times, but he will get 2 goals for you. What do you need in football? It's the goal.
Yes.
If you can score. Somebody like Messi, he may not have an opportunity to score, but one good thing God has given somebody like Messi is that grace. Back to your question. Africa, you know, we are evolving. We are just gradually developing our football. We have not reached that level, but we do have before. For instance, we have somebody like Rashid Yekini. Late Rashid Yekini, when he plays for Nigeria, no way he will get a goal. Nations Cup, World Cup. Rashid Yekini was the first Nigerian to get a goal for us. That was when Nigeria met Bulgaria in 1994 USA World Cup.
Yeah.
In fact, it developed into a level that they created a threat for Rashid Yekini, because when he scored the goal, he went and he held the net and shook the net instead of coming out so that all other players can celebrate with him. We have not actually attained a level where in Africa, it's not that we don't have some strikers, but main striker that you can really say, this, like for instance, when a player like Haaland, a player like Messi, a player like Mbappe, if they are playing, even if it remains 5 minutes, you can be sure that something can happen. You understand what I'm saying? So it's like something that is inborn in you. You just have to get the goal. You find a way of getting the goal. If you don't get the goal, you pass the ball for somebody to get. But you know, in Africa, we are just coming up. Let me not condemn us.
Okay, so let him just talk on coaches.
Okay.
You know, do you think all this credit will now be hinged on how coaches are tactically inclined?
Coaches are very, very important in football. And that's why you see that in football, if you do well, it's the club they will talk about. But if you don't do well, it's the coaches that will take the blame. In fact, you see that even in this World Cup,
South Korea stepped down.
A coach was sacked. Tunisian coach was sacked. South Korean coach has stepped down. Even South African coach is considering whether he will leave. Coaches are, they mold the team, they shield the team, and they make the team play their pattern. Why do we have somebody like Pep Guardiola being a big name? Why do we have somebody like Carlo Ancelotti of Brazil being an icon? These are coaches that their experience goes beyond normal coaching. They come out with certain things, and before you know it, the players picked it and they get their result. Look at Brazil. Brazil was almost knocked out by Japan. It was last minute goal.
They came from behind.
And he brought in some players, changed the pattern of the game, and before you know it, that is what we call experience. Coaches have the experience, they have the technical know-how, and they have the technical knowledge to know that, this angle is not good. Let me remove this person. Sometimes a coach will remove a player. If you watch in this World Cup, most of the players that were removed, the new ones brought in, they get goals.
Yes.
They score.
Like in the France match, like Mbappe, the other guy came in and did the hat trick.
You will now be wondering, why didn't he use this player right from the beginning? Because he knows that if he used all his tactics at the beginning, he will have difficulty in getting somebody who can deliver for him. But when he puts in some and leaves some, and when it's time, he brings in the ones that can give him results.
All right, so by way of wrapping up,
Yeah.
because we are looking at games that are on today for African countries. We have, I think we have England taking up DR Congo today,
Okay.
and also Belgium playing Senegal. And we are looking at so far the two that have already played.
Yeah.
One, I think two are out, three played already.
Yeah.
Two are out. Only Morocco has advanced. So what do you expect this team should go to
When
be
you
doing
look
on the field?
On paper,
Yes.
the two countries that are playing today, you say England,
but you don't.
but
you don't
football
direct,
is not like that.
predictable,
Football is
yes.
something that has to do with whatever you put in and the tactics your coach brings in. I won't be surprised if Congo Democratic Republic hold a team like England for a while, but I don't see them beating England. I don't see them beating
So
England.
you don't
So what
even
Give us a surprise. Senegal can try, but from my own analysis and experience in the game of football, I don't see the two of them scaling through, because England has Kane. Kane is an inborn striker,
all right.
and with some players that you Declan Rice. You know, these are players like Saka. You know, these are players that when they come out from another angle,
They'll
you'll be shocked. But
of course,
if they qualify, or if they manage to get into penalties, if any of them manage to get into penalties, I see Africa coming.
that penalty did not
look
work
forward
well
to
for
that.
South Africa, because they had thought they would go to penalty only for the
that is just
Mexican
being
team.
optimistic.
All right, but let's just hope that at the end of the day, let's just hope that one African country would join Morocco.
Exactly.
Let it not just be Morocco going forward. Thank you so much, Director sir, for coming to. No, if we had time, we would have been able to talk more.
Well,
But
Even
I think,
especially on technology that
of
is
course, but we
that
do believe
introduced.
that at the end of the World Cup, we should still have to come back
Yes.
to summarize everything that had happened.
Let
at the
me
World
let me say thank you for the opportunity
thank you.
given to me to come and talk. This is our field. I don't know anything other than sports. I love sports. I cherish sports, and sports is something that makes my head. Once they are talking about it, is what I love. So
Yeah.
I want to say thank you for giving me the privilege.
Thank you
welcome.
so
Thank you
much,
so much
and
for
that's
coming.
it for this. Please stay tuned. We have another segment on this program to talk more on
state
something
policing.
else. Thank you so much. Please stay tuned.
Do you live in Aduawa and environs, or you need a conducive and open field in Aduawa for your wedding receptions, birthday parties, annual ceremonies, family or corporate events in a serene and conducive environment that is close to nature? Then look no further. NTA Benin Aduawa is a place for you. NTA Benin Aduawa has a large field for all your events and ceremonies. Also, at NTA Corporate Headquarters TV Road, we have a state-of-the-art fully air-conditioned ultra-modern hall for all kinds of indoor events with a standby generating set, therefore ensuring uninterrupted power supply. We also have NTA Pavilion for all outdoor events at the same venue. Guess what? Our prices are affordable, locations are easily accessible, venues conducive and highly secured. Our outside broadcast van is available 24 hours and can broadcast your events live. Inquiries and bookings, please call NTA Benin, the award-winning station.
You are on.
All right. It's still Midweek Connect, and of course, we just finished having a session with one sport enthusiast and trainer and analyst, and he also is into something else different. But I know you're a sports person; you would have been watching what's
Yes,
going
I
on.
was
Although
watching
Nigeria is not there,
Yes.
but at least you have love for other African
Yes,
countries.
I
Which
was.
African country are you about your
favorite?
Congo.
Congo. Let's see what happens when they play the round of 16.
Right.
Okay, I think they have their match. Is it tomorrow? So, or is it today? Yeah, they have it today with all right, let's hope what happens. But we are not looking at that.
Oh, state police.
Yes.
And of course, our guest here it's a legal practitioner.
Pretendant of police.
Yes. So you're really.
So it's a key player in what we're discussing.
Yes, of course. What we're going to talk about. We are looking at the state police already. The National Assembly has passed that bill.
Yes.
And right now, what happens is for the state assemblies to adapt it.
Yes.
So that everything can be fine-tuned. And tell us, as a lawyer, barrister, what are the legal implications of coming up with this legal policing?
Oh, thank you very much. Thank you very much. In fact, I'm glad to be here, because the last time I was here, we actually spoke about this state police, and I think you guys may be surprised why I was so much enthusiastic.
Yes, actually, you always say it. You always
state police.
Yeah.
You know, because I feel that state police is a very golden opportunity for us to war against the terror of crime that is happening in the time. Kidnapping has gone to. It's one of those solutions which we can use to. It's a golden bullet with which we can destroy the very fabric of this criminality and menace in our country.
Okay, sir. You know, as a retired police officer, in fact, you are retired and not tired.
Of course,
for anything that has to do with insecurity.
Yes.
You know, don't you just start minding, because I know each time you appear, even if you're talking about other issues, you always come up with this state policing.
Yes.
So I know you are very enthusiastic and very happy about that. So how do you now begin to see this state policing at the end of the day? What will be the fate of this federal police, you know, being a police officer?
All right. For those who are in the federal police system, because now the bill is establishing two policing systems for the nation. One is the state police service, and the other one is the federal police service. So the federal police, or the police as it is today, is still going to remain. You know, the federal arm of the police is still there. You know, but the state the bill is going to make laws. Each of the state government is going to make laws to establish their own state police. And they are going to appoint a commissioner of police to superintend over the state police. That is what is going to happen. And that commissioner of police, I mean, the appointment must be ratified by the National Police Department and also the state arm of it.
The fear of most citizens, most Nigerians, are this issue of the state governors trying to hijack the state police. You know, if you look at what's the vigilante in every state, you know, the way at every beck and call of the state government. So I think this is one of the issues that have been dragging this policy of state policing. So how do you see that worry by citizens?
There should not be any kind of doing certain acts, going after political opponents and political parties, or using the state police as a tool for injustice, to fight or kind of entrench or kind of harm the fundamental rights of any citizen. You know,
using the state police.
So anybody can take up the state governor by that, and the federal government is going to pretend, you know, over the state police, because you know the National Police Department will also superintend over what is happening in the state. So it's not going to be business as we thought that it's going to be, as the fear of being used as a tool to against political opponents.
All right, so we are looking at this whole, now we have a framework.
Yes.
A constitutional pathway has been created.
Yes.
But a lot has been said that between when the Senate has passed it and sent it to the now state houses of assembly, and when this police officer is expected on the street, so many things are expected to happen. And I'm going to ask you, if this state police should succeed, what are those factors it will hinge upon? What are those factors that will be responsible, that should be taken into consideration if we should succeed when it reaches the state assemblies and everything, before we can now say, oh, this is a state police officer?
All right. Before it's materialized.
Yes. What are those things that will help it to succeed in the different states when it's come on board?
All right. When it comes on board, first of all, there's going to be laws as I stated, by the state assembly. The state assembly is going to enact laws to establish the state police, and the state government is going to fund the state police, and also the federal government is going to give grants also to state police, by legal instruments. It's going to give grant to to state police. Okay. And we expect that in the scenario of the existence of state police, there's going to be a kind of swiftness, a kind of law enforcement will be speedy this time around than it used to be.
Okay.
You understand? Because we have now the federal police service and the state police service coexisting in the same state and carrying out different functions. Because the function of the state police will be different from the function of the federal police.
Okay, so can you just itemize in the synopsis of these functions or characteristics of the state police?
All right. The functions of the state police will be to enforce the state laws that has to that the state government can be allowed or is allowed by this constitution, either in the by the constitution or any other law enacted by the state house of assembly to carry on. You understand? Such as like stealing, like robbery, like
kidnapping,
cultism, and all that laws, but like laws that has to do with border patrol, border offenses, national offenses, national assignment like organized crime, terrorism, invasions, and all that. All these are going to be handled by the federal government, federal service, and also crimes like cyber crime, like cyber stalking and all that, drug offenses are to be handled by the federal police service.
Okay, so states will handle more of a civil cases. So we talked about funding before now.
Yes.
You talked about funding the state police, the federal police.
Yes.
How do you see this issue of funding? Because it has been a Herculean task for, in quotes, for the government to most time fund the police, and the citizens have been, decrying this development. And now the government has a bigger picture, load on their back now, funding for the state police and funding for the federal police. So how do you see it being a reality?
You see, the funding, as I told you, is going to be done by the states governments.
It's going to be enough because it has been the cry has been on funding of police.
Because the state government has spent billions of naira in terms of security, according to the data on ground. You understand? They've been saying they've been buying. Now it is their turn to really
of course
demonstrate
to make it visible. People are going to see what they're doing.
Before we really wrap up, so let me just take you on something. You've been in the police force for some time, and a lot of things have been said about reforms. Now let's look at it. When you were in the police force, there are certain things that were not done so well in terms of the way things administration, because somebody once said the real frontline officers are not too many. You have them in administration, you have them, and there are still police officers that are supposed to be at the front line to do the work. So what reforms do you think, looking at the federal police and the state police that should come, which area do you think they should really focus more in reforming, so that at the time these people come on board, they would have been able to correct probably the errors that had been in the Nigerian police force presently?
All right. The first and most vital of them is intelligence gathering. Because the state police will give room. It will not give room for more intelligent work to be done. And intelligence is very crucial. The state police, because funding has been a problem too. So the state government must have their hands on the deck, because the issue of banditry and terrorism and killings and bloodletting in the nation have been of major concern to everybody, even to the siblings of governors and everyone. So everybody should be willing to finance the state police. And this is not time to play politics again, unlike before. That when it got to State House of Assembly, there is a reversal. This time around, the state houses of assembly are willing. They are all willing to. They have all started work, and by God's willingness, we must have a state police very, very soon. And I am urging the state assemblies of different nations, because we only need 24 states.
2/3 of the
assemblies. Yes,
24
to ratify the bill.
The bill.
Okay, and give us a
nation, if this nation must survive.
Before we let you go, somebody was talking about that when you have the Nigerian police force, a lot of these officers come in that are being maybe posted to a community. They don't have knowledge about the terrain and all that, and that had always been one of the hindrances. And we are looking at the text. Someone was saying recruitment should be taken into consideration. Who and who should be in this force? Should it just be that anybody can be picked? Because somebody can stay in a community for years, even if he's not from there. He has knowledge of that community. Should it be, somebody was, it should just be native of the place that should be taken in and all that? What would you have to say about the recruitment process?
I think the major thing is output. What is the expectation of those? What is the security output, or the intention of the generic intention of the recruitment? What does the recruiters intend to achieve? That matters. If you intend to achieve real policing and security, you must do the right thing. Recruit the right persons, no matter who's us is God. And that
should be the right people that know the environment.
Somebody was just saying yesterday that, are you sure they will not just transfer all these vigilante and all these task forces to these state task forces, to they just continue, they will just give them training to now be the state police? Do you see that coming, sir?
I don't see that coming, because it's supposed not to be. Because we should have decorum to realities and purpose.
So everything should be done